Hello and welcome back to another edition of our Talk It Out sessions presented by Verb. We are your hosts, Aaron Tate, Adrian Post, saying hello to our future selves. If you've caught our other videos, then you know what we like to do is we take a specific topic, particularly one that is controversial, and we like to discuss it. We come up with different talking points to bring up throughout the discussion, but we also like to get involved with you guys as well. So for those of you tuning in, please feel free to comment and ask any questions you think might contribute to the conversation. With that being said, today's lovely topic is the woman who divorced her husband for a richer man. Would you like to discuss how we came to?
I would like to ask her, how did it work out though? Like, are y'all still together? Are you getting the benefits from the specific marriage that you can clearly identify from the previous marriage? Like, how did that actually work? And then especially now that you realize that you made the wrong decision, basically, how do you deal with that? Because now you're publicly admitting this to the world, but yet you're still married to the guy that you left the love of your life for.
So for a little context for those of you watching, there's this video circulating on TikTok. This woman was being interviewed by another woman. And the woman that was being interviewed, she ended up mentioning how she was married once, but she ended up getting a divorce. Now, the way that she described the marriage was that it was full of love. Her husband loved her completely, unconditionally, her and her child, who she had before meeting her husband. So she was a baby mama before someone came and wiped her up and took care of her and her children, her and her child. He loved her unconditionally. But when she was asked the reason for why she divorced him, it was because she felt like she needed to be with someone with more money, to put it simply. She didn't like seeing him work so much and, in her words, still have so little resources. She described him having to work from like 4 a.m. to 10 p.m. at night. And she didn't like the fact that, despite him always being gone working and her also working as well, they still seem to only have so little resources that allow for only so little activity. So she felt like she wanted more. She described it as being at a point in her life where she wanted more money. So she made the decision to divorce him to be with a richer man. A couple years later, the guy that she divorced ended up dying. And now she feels bad about having made a poor decision to leave someone who loved and cared for her so deeply for something as, will we say childish as wanting more money?
She described it as selfish.
Selfish.
Yeah, her exact words were selfish.
For something as selfish as wanting more money. So I guess my first question is this the mentality of most modern day women of today?
I would ask, if he would not have died, would she have came to that conclusion though? Like, did you come to this conclusion before he died and you was just harboring that information, and then since he did die, you want to go ahead and get it off your chest as a sense of like getting over your grief? Or was it his actual death that made you realize, oh snap, I made the wrong decision? Because if it was his actual death that fueled you to make that decision, then we as men are in a bad place in the world.
Do you feel like the world doesn't care about men?
I do. I definitely do. And I really feel like it was more of his death, because people, they tend to negate all the value until someone passes anyway. And this has been a known thing throughout our society and our culture. And it's not until someone dies that people then, oh, he was so great, he did this, he did that. But while these people were living, like, these people were nowhere to be found.
So why is it that you think that women put so much emphasis on a certain financial level or status?
I think it speaks to the thing that you talk about all the time about females are raised to, how do you put it? Be, what is the word?
Oh, sponsored.
Sponsored, yes. And no one had enough to be like, hey, let's stop this, because we're raising the type of women that is causing the aggravation in men. Like, instead of men saying, hey, my value doesn't come from monetary gain, it comes from all of the skills and assets that I have, we just adhered to it because we knew that's what they wanted. And it's one of those things where if your 3-year-old say, hey, can I have your car keys? You're not going to give them the car keys. But what we've done is we've passed them the car keys knowing that you really shouldn't be driving this car until you get a certain age. And instead of men saying, hey, everybody, let's stop. Let's stop promoting the fact that, you know, men need money to have value and it attracts women. We just chase the money, and that's what we get on paper chasing and all the monetary things that men do, instead of being like, hey, let's pause on the money and let's bring light to all the other skills that I have as a man. So now that they told us what they wanted, which is money, we promoted what they wanted, nobody stopped them, and then we're constantly raising generation after generation that perpetuates that particular ideal. And now we're in the shape that we're in now, and we have to die in order for women to be like, oh snap, he was a good man. But while he was living, it was, you don't have enough money.
Do you think women are more responsible for the modern man that says, well, all I have to do is give you money and I don't have to exercise any other skill to help a thriving relationship? Or are men more responsible for men being this way? I say it's
50-50 because it does take a lot of effort to develop skills such as emotional intelligence, effective communication, foreknowledge, being goal-driven, planning. Like all of these things, you have to sit down and talk to someone. You have to read. You have to watch stuff. You have to be around people of that nature. And it's easier because of the way that the job market is set up, or even just the streets, right? You can easily make money, but it's not easy to develop skills, because developing skills, it requires a certain level of discipline. So for men, the 50% that I particularly feel like we play is, we took the easy route out. Let me just go get 2 or 3 jobs. Let me put all of my time and effort into the streets to make money, because that's an easy magnet. But when you think about the discipline that it requires to develop all these skills that are needed with this money, it's like, there's too much. The 50% that I feel like females play is, they just completely act like they disregarded the fact that there's more outside of money that's needed. But since you're giving it to me and I can take it and do what I want to with it, bring it.
I think another thing is it's interesting that women think, or women aren't aware of, yes, we have this money, but it's all these skills that I possess that allow for me to obtain this amount of money. So where you're putting more emphasis or more value into simply the money, the emphasis and the value needs to be placed in the skills that are required in order to obtain this money. Because as long as I have these skills, when this money goes away, I can always go out and get some more, right? But women don't think like that. They think they only see money and think, well, that's the end all be all. As long as we got the money, I can do without the skills, or the skills are less important than this money that we have right now.
So do you think if her previous husband had highlighted, or at least equally highlighted, that even though I only have this particular amount of money, I have a whole plethora of skills that actually enable me to acquire this money, and gave that mindset to that female, do you think she would have been different?
I think so. He probably didn't, because he was working all the time. He didn't have time to, because he worked from 4, according to her, he worked from 4 a.m. to 10 p.m. So by the time he got home, he probably too tired and wants to go to bed, but then he has to be right back up to go back to work. So they probably didn't have a lot of time, aside from maybe on the weekends, whatever the case was. They probably didn't have a lot of time to sit down, maybe go to therapy, or sit down and have these conversations about what is it that each of us want, or, and then another question is,
what was she doing?
Yeah,
I was just finna say, did she have a job?
She stated that she had a job.
But I feel like once she got with the man with money, she stopped working. She give me I stopped working vibes.
And another thing is, well, if you felt like you wanted more money, is this a conversation that you brought to your husband? Say, hey, babe, I know that you work a lot. I know you're doing your best to provide for this family. However, I feel like there's more that we could be doing to help advance, our position or our status in life. So let's figure out what we both can do to contribute to, I guess, a more stable lifestyle for this family. You know what I mean? But
I would almost be willing to bet that she didn't have a job, because she never brought up the fact that she was working. So what it really boils down to is, like you stated, she wanted to be sponsored. Because she never brought up that we were working together. And another thing that was offsetting to me is the fact that the interviewer never asked about her profession or what was she doing to contribute to that financial gain that she wanted, which tells me that both of y'all had this women are supposed to be sponsor mentality, because we never even questioned her work ethic.
Yeah. But that is all the time we have today. Thank you so much for you guys tuning in. What do I normally say at the end of these videos? If you want to catch other videos that we've done, you can go to my YouTube page. Just type in Aaron Tate. That's AARONTATE. You'll see my handsome face. Click on it, and you'll have access to all the videos that we've done before. But catch us same time, same place next week. But right now, we're going to go ahead and say goodbye to our future selves. One day, we'll look back on this and wonder why we were ever like this in the first place. Peace. Music plays, fades out.
Let me get out of here. And also let me know how they go.